All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. Unfortunately, you're seeing this as a recording. Let me explain to you why. Some of you guys were attempting to watch the stream earlier tonight, but the stream is not working for me, and here's the reason why. Okay, really quick. A lot of you guys know that I'm in the process of moving. I sold my current home. My wife and I and my young son are now basically living temporarily with my mother-in-law and father-in-law at their home, and I'm here in the basement and I don't have the same level of connection. Wi-Fi seems to be fine, but the stream doesn't seem to want to behave. When I was at home, I was hardwired. I don't have the ability to be hardwired here. So I'm going to have to do this as a recording. What sucks is I won't be able to basically do live calls and things of that nature. And that part of it is what really sucks. But it is what it is. Until I can figure out a solution, guys, that's what it's just going to be. I apologize in advance, and hopefully I can still keep you guys engaged. But like I said, that's what it is. And, we're having a home built. Our new home is probably not going to be done until around mid-March, early April. So, this may be the situation that I'm in until then. Hopefully not, but hey, the positive thing is if it turns out that way, at least it's at the end of the season. But let's get right into it, man. I'm gonna, in this case, the video won't be extremely long. We'll talk about a couple quick things. What I had planned to go over. Let me pull up my notes here. Give me a second. What I plan to go over is basically, a couple quick things that we got from Mike Tomlin today. Really, Tomlin just talked about him. You're going to see me looking this way here. I'm reading off of the screen. Talked about a couple of injuries, and that's really the meat and potatoes that I got from Tomlin's presser. It wasn't really a whole lot of action. Wasn't a whole lot going on there. Nothing that he hasn't said in previous weeks. So he really just talked about the injuries. Chris Wormley is going to be the biggest injury that we're going to have. Unfortunately, Chris Wormley is having a knee injury, and Tomlin said he would need surgery. So pretty much you can consider that being a season ender, with only 4 or so weeks left in the season. There you have it. And that's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. The Steelers already haven't stopped the run as well as they should have stopped the run against teams that can run the football. You think about Atlanta. You think about a couple times in the Colts game. You think about also, well, not necessarily. I think the Colts was relatively decent. But again, you think about Atlanta, and you think about what just happened against the Ravens. And we're going against Carolina, who's really been loading up and running the football that way. And that's kind of just kind of how it's going to be, right? So without having a guy like Chris Wormley, that's another piece that's going down. The Steelers already are not really winning the line of scrimmage, in my opinion, against the run. And, Chris Wormley was helping out in that regard. So that's going to be a significant loss. We'll see what the Steelers do to, compensate for his loss and who will step up in his absence. He also talked about other guys, basically said bumps and bruises. He'll let their participation be the guide. Like he always does. He singled out Pat Freiermuth, but he said that he could also be classified along with these other guys. Let the participation be the guide as far as whether or not they're going to be able to play or they will be available or not. Outside of that, what I definitely wanted to say to you guys as well is because of my crazy past week and weekend, I didn't even get an opportunity to do a post-game show. I didn't even really watch the game in real time. Some of you guys know, I had a close friend of mine, unfortunately, that passed away and, in a car accident, really tragic situation. His funeral was yesterday on Monday. I had to head down to Richmond, Virginia, Sunday during the day, just, kind of link up with other friends and family and things like that. I just didn't get an opportunity to watch the game in real time. And obviously with me being out of town, I couldn't do a post-game show. So I just saved all of that until today. And I'm not really going to dissect it the way I normally do. I'm just going to hit on a couple things, the obvious things, the reason why I felt like the Steelers did not get that victory. But that's kind of where I've been. I know some of you guys have probably was wondering what was going on Sunday. That's what it was. And unfortunately, again, internet where I'm currently staying right now is not, holding up its end of the bargain in terms of live show. So unfortunately, I'm left to do the show in this capacity as a recording. So let's get right to it, man. The Steelers got a couple notes here. The Steelers seemed like they were able to contain the Ravens' rushing game in the first two series, and that's about it. After that, the Ravens were pretty much able to run wild. It wasn't so much the big plays because they did. It really was that. I'm kind of saying that in reverse. What I'm going to say is it wasn't so much that they were getting these 20+ yard runs every time, but it was just the amount of explosive runs that they gave up. Obviously the 44-yard run with the Dobbins, and then he had a couple others that was probably plus 10 yards, and you give up scrambles to Huntley, and I actually wrote that down here as a note as well. A couple times I think we were caught in man coverage. Always dangerous to do that against a quarterback that can take off and run, and he made us pay for it. Gus Edwards able to get a couple runs off as well, and the Steelers just started to spring a leak a little bit, man, after the first two possessions. They started off pretty well, but as the game went on, it just seems like the Ravens were able to wear them down, so to speak. A couple things that I noticed, man, and I had planned to show it in the live show, but I just don't have it right available with me now. The Steelers played early in that game a lot of 5-man fronts with 3 safeties. So they basically swapped a corner for a safety so they would get the 3 safety look out there. And I don't have any issue with that. I don't have an issue with them playing Casey and Minka and Edmonds together, and definitely, having Casey playing deep, Minka playing closer to the box. Minka is able to roam and make tackles and things like that. But it's kind of the Steelers alignment that it's a little tricky the way they do it, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know every single thing or that I know better than the coaches. I'm going to trust our NFL coaches. I'm not going to sit here and act as if I know better than NFL level coaches, right? But what I wanted to talk about in terms of the formation, I just wanted to address the fact that you can clearly see that it played into the way we were lined up, was played into what the Ravens wanted to do as far as getting a hat on a hat. I mean, especially the Dobbins run. We made it so easy the way the front guys are aligned, and it just puts the 2 inside linebackers like right off the break. It puts them in one-on-one situations. And of course, you want linebackers who can kind of meet the play, attack it at the line or shed blocks and things like that. They just didn't do a good job with that. And like I'm saying, I'm not going to sit here and say that the front is a bad front, because, I really got to dissect it a little more once I get a chance to really look at the all-22. But I watched a couple of the plays. I did see that one. And it's just the way they were aligned, the way they were lined up. It just led to, it seemed to lend to what the Ravens wanted to do. And, like I said, they were able to get hat on a hat, a lot of one-on-ones and making a nice crease. Their offensive line doing a great job, man. And the Steelers did not win the line of scrimmage in the run game. They just didn't. They did not win the line of scrimmage whatsoever. And there you have it, man. The Ravens able to run the ball down their throats. Also, I got here a couple more things before I get to the obvious. I put here big time hit by Minkah Fitzpatrick on Huntley. I'm not celebrating Huntley getting injured, obviously, but I love my free safety coming up and, playing the run like that, being that last line of defense. That was a beautiful thing to see. And I always want to point out things like that, because whenever Minka's not getting interceptions, there's always somebody in SteelerNation saying, oh, he's not doing good, oh, he's quiet. Minkah Fitzpatrick does so much for that team that you guys have no idea unless you're really intently watching football. And I understand not everybody watches it so deeply. I get that. But this is the reason why I always try to highlight the things that he's doing outside of getting interceptions, so you can understand how significant he is for the defense. So it's always good to see Minkah, playing the run as well as, doing what he has to do in pass coverage. I gave Mitch Trubisky a little bit of credit for one particular throw. The throw that he threw to Deontay Johnson late in the fourth quarter, deep down the field. That was an outstanding throw. And an outstanding route by Deontay Johnson. How he starts outside, bounces inside, and kind of takes his eye off the ball and then comes back to the ball at the last second and it hits him right in stride. And Mitch threw that going backwards. He got hit, got a personal foul added to that, if I remember correctly. But I have to give him credit at least for that throw, right? I'm not going to sit here and give this dude any type of credit for anything else that he did, because we about to get into him. But, I give credit where credit is due. And I will say he did an outstanding job on that particular throw and that particular throw alone. What else do I have here? I have Steelers just could not stop the run. I already talked about that, man. They gave up too many explosive runs. And, they couldn't stop Edwards on that 3rd and 3. The final possession by the Ravens. Had they got off the field there, who knows? At that point, it's only a 1-possession game, a 2-point lead. Can the Steelers get back down the field and kick a field goal? We'll never know. And also, field goal gets blocked in that game. We give up a block, even though it's Calais Campbell with his 6'8", and he's stretching out. Who knows how long his wingspan is? But I hate to go back to a single play like that and say, oh, that's the reason why they lost. Because some people are saying that. Some people are basically saying, oh, they lost because of the block field goal. No, that is definitely not why they lost completely. And I'm going to talk about why they lost here in just a moment. The last thing I want to talk about, man, again, is, I think it is time to start looking at exactly what the defensive and offensive coordinators' plans are. Maybe not so much. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to take a whole lot of blame off of Terrell Austin. I mean, when your team is giving up so much in the run game over the last couple weeks, you got to look at the offensive coordinator and figure out what he's doing. Like I said, some of what I've seen already in this game, just going through the film, I just don't like the way we are aligned. And like I said, maybe the way they're lining up is the best option, and maybe the other team is just outplaying them. That's very possible as well. But it's just something to keep an eye on. It just seems like it creates these creases quite often. Maybe we're not throwing the right personnel out there, or we're not aligned correctly, or we're just not winning the line of scrimmage. Because, again, these guys, and on that play to J.K. Dobbins, the 44-yarder, Linderbaum, who's somebody we should be familiar with, we were looking at him in college, he's able to get to his guy and then peel off, get to the next guy, and, Miles Jack gets washed. You see Miles Jack in the hole, like getting thrown backwards, and he has one arm out, and Dobbins just goes right through the lane, and he's out for a 44-yard gain. And I'm seeing a lot of that, man. I'm seeing a lot of, it's almost like the play is won already from the line of scrimmage at the word go. It's like no struggle, no push, hat on a hat. I don't know, man. The Steelers are just not lately here. They have not stopped the run the way they need to stop the run. And granted, it is the Ravens. The Ravens are a very good running football team. We all know that, but just not a good showing, man. Just not a good showing. Now, let's talk about the reason why the Steelers lost this game. Oh, wait, real quick. Matt Canada. Y'all know what I've been saying about Matt Canada all year, and I'm going to stick to that. I just don't like this guy's play designs, man. All right? And it's funny because I had the conversation with my father-in-law, Leonard, and I said, hey, listen, I can't blame Matt Canada for the loss on Sunday, and I'm going to stick to that. I can't blame him for that loss. I cannot blame Matt Canada. You know the reason why I can't? We drove down the field. I still don't like his play selections, but we were able to move the ball. But I just don't like his concept so far. I don't like the runs that we design, that we run. I don't like them. It's a lot of straight up the middle. It doesn't seem like we run a lot of power. I know we're doing a lot of zone scheme now with blocking. And it just doesn't seem like we're taking advantage of, I don't know. I feel like we could design better run designs as far as the play itself. It's a whole lot of straight up the yin yang, right? And finally, we run a toss to somebody a little quicker than Najee, and not a disrespect to Najee, but a guy that's a one cut type of guy. You saw what happened when we ran that with Warren. Warren picked up 8 yards on it because he hits it fast. Najee is a different type of runner. So I keep saying, stop running that toss to him. And the guys are getting blown up anyway. They're not blocking. At least run it to a guy that, that it's more intentional with his running, and that's going to get him positive yards. And you saw it. But even his route combinations still, man, it seems like sometimes in this game they took a step backwards. I was giving him credit earlier, maybe a few weeks back, that you could see some different combinations working downfield and, allowing these things to progress and, develop. But I saw too many times already, and I'm telling you, I only watched, of the all 22, I watched like the first quarter so far. And there's a lot of times that these guys are running like 5-yard stop routes. Those plays that Kenny Pickett had to scramble on, that's what was happening. Just straight up stop routes. Nothing 5 yards down the field, nothing beyond. It's just, and too bad Kenny gets hurt. You know what I mean? It's very, very unfortunate that he gets hurt. We'll see what happens, if he gets out of the protocol, how he progresses through that. But man, I just don't like Matt Canada's play designs. Let's just say that. I don't. And I'm saying that even though we were moving the ball down the field, I'm going to stick to what I believe about Matt Canada. I don't like his play designs, at least not for an entire game. I just don't like it. I just don't. And that's where I stand with that, man. And I don't know. I don't expect much. I really don't. Now let's get to the nitty gritty, man. And let me check my time here and see how long I've been recording. About 17 minutes. Not bad. Let's talk about this. Mitch Trubisky. That is the reason why Mitch Trubisky is also the thumbnail. Take a sip of water real quick. God awful. God awful with those interceptions. One of them came in the red zone. One of them came just outside the red zone. The second interception, we were on the 23-yard line. And then the third one came, he takes a deep shot downfield, safety over the top. I mean, there's really no place to put the ball. And I don't know if he just chucked it up there thinking he would beat the safety. But when you look at the play, the safety was in position the entire time. And the safety just runs right under it and picks it off. 3 interceptions is the reason why the Steelers lost this game. Even with the Steelers leaking in the run defense, they still held a Ravens team that featured Huntley, and then the other kid, what was it, Johnson? I don't even remember who this kid is. You were still in striking distance. The final score was 16-14. So even if you take that blocked field goal off the board, there's at least 2 opportunities for points that Mitch Trubisky gave away back to back. Back to back. You give one to Roquan Smith, you give the other one to Patrick Queen. Both of those, the Steelers were in prime position to score after moving the ball down the field. Let's say the Ravens stiffen up and they force you to a field goal. That's presumably 6 points. You add 6 points to the 14 that they had. What does that equal? 20. Not saying the game would have went like that. Had we scored, who knows how aggressive the Ravens would have been after that. It's all speculation, but I'm just using numbers. There was a clear opportunity for the Steelers to at least walk away from that game winning it 20-16. And they did not. They never had the opportunity to do so because Mitch Trubisky decides to throw 3 interceptions, 2 of which right into coverage. It's like he never saw the linebackers. And it's funny because I say this to SteelerNation because SteelerNation is very fickle and very funny. See, what SteelerNation likes to do, SteelerNation likes to blame people each and every week. They be so hard on Kenny Pickett. Oh, get him out of there. Get him out of there. You know, not realizing that this kid is a rookie and not realizing it's going to be this type of season. And this is the reason why I titled this, you know, the Steeler Nation needs a reality check. You know, everyone wants to fire everybody. They want to bench every player, but nobody is taking the time to realize this. Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger had been together for what, 15 years? Franchise quarterback, good head coach. They were winning. Actually got a Super Bowl out the deal. Went to another Super Bowl. Put up a few 12-4 seasons. Put up a 13-3 season. Quite a few winning seasons. No official losing season. First year that combination is not together, now everybody is overly critical about the head coach and the rookie quarterback. Not allowing any time, it's the arrogance of us SteelerNation people. Not allowing any time for the Steelers to be in a rebuild. You know, as soon as Kenny Pickett isn't playing well, oh, we need another quarterback. Oh, we should have never drafted. I'm like, when are you guys going to ever accept that it's the Steelers' time now to rebuild? That yes, this more than likely is going to be the first losing season of Mike Tomlin's career. It's bound to happen. It's amazing that it has not happened in 15 years. And what people always want to say, right? This is what they always want to say. Well, Ben Roethlisberger was carrying Mike Tomlin. Okay, let's say you're one of those people. So what do you expect now that Ben Roethlisberger is not there? If you're one of those people, why are you complaining so much about what you see happening if you think that Ben held it together? But we don't do that in SteelerNation. See, SteelerNation doesn't use reality. And that's all I'm saying. And you're seeing it already with when Kenny not playing well. Oh, man, put Mitch back in. What Mitch just give you? 3 of them. Mitch Trubisky lost this football game for the most part. You can blame it on the defense and say, oh, they shouldn't allow them to run so much. You're right. But A, the Ravens are a good running football team. B, you have to give the other professional team credit for being good at what they do. And C, even with all that being said, the Steelers still held them to 16 points. 16 points. That is well enough to win a football game if you can hold an NFL team to under 20 points. Held them to 16. That is well enough for you to win the ball game. Can't do that with 3 interceptions. You cannot turn the football over like that against a team like that can milk the clock and run the ball as well as they can. Cannot do that. That is what happened. Also, again, you know, we probably got a little predictable in the second half in terms of our offense, which is what Matt Canada seems to do every week. And there you have it. We didn't turn the ball over. Like, we didn't help our own turnover ratio. We only gave them the ball, but we didn't turn them over. And there you have it. This is why they lost the game. It was not Matt Canada. Was not Terrell Austin. Was not Mike Tomlin. It is my humble opinion that they lost that game because of 3 interceptions thrown by Mitch Trubisky. 1 in the red zone, the other just outside the red zone on the 23-yard line, and then the 3rd was a deep shot into double coverage. And there you have it. And that is where I shall end this. We're right at 25 minutes. That's good enough. I will upload this, SteelerNation. I do apologize that you guys couldn't rock with me live. Hopefully, you guys will be able to see this. And hopefully most of you guys will see me upload it and you'll watch it. I do apologize. I couldn't get the stream off, man. It's just that, it's the circumstances I'm dealing with right now. So definitely apologize for that. All right, and we'll see what happens, man, this week coming up against Carolina. And at this point, like I said, man, I'm just watching to see what this football team, who gets better, who needs work, yada, yada, yada. I had no expectations for this season, and I definitely don't have any expectations now. And last but not least, I will say that boy George Pickens is going to be special. Every week he's doing something now. He is going to be special. All right, so I definitely hope that Kenny Pickett can play because I want Kenny to play as many of these last games as possible. Take that into next year, and we start from there and see how that part continues as far as the rebuild, because we're still rebuilding. It's not going to be one season. It might not even be two. But we're planting the seeds right now, so I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out. But all right, man, before you guys go, I'm going to ask you to do this. Boom. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Click on those notifications. And I shall be back at you guys soon. So like always, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Good night. Stay safe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.